Hello, my name is Anthony Hall, and in this tutorial we're going to be making some Dragonballs. So here's a render I did earlier, and I'm going to talk you through how to create this glass texture, the sphere, the stars, and then put it into a scene with some lighting like this. So let's get cracking. So the first thing you're going to do is you're just going to make a sphere. So we use the ball. Press N on the keyboard and you get the default ball setting, and we're just going to use that. I'm not going to add any details or anything. Drop section with the layers over here. Look on your right. If we bring up the layers, let's just call it ball 1, like so, and then we're going to give it a surface. So if you're not sure, you can click the set surface at the bottom here, or you can press Q on your keyboard. Let's just call this ball 1, like so. I mean, you can give it a default kind of orangey colour if you want. Click smoothing, like that. Next, what we're going to do is just create the star. So we're just creating one star for the inside and one ball, and then we're going to take it through, group them as a hierarchy, and then clone the hierarchy. So for this, for the star, what I've done is I've created a vector, an EPS vector, which I'm going to use now, and I'll provide it for you. You can do it with, like, make it something simple, use a pen tool and draw a 5-point star out, but we're just going to, I've just created a vector because it's quicker and I can use it again and again when I want it. So for this, what I'm going to do is go to IO for the interface, and we're going to go to EPS loader. I'm going to leave it on standard. We'll convert it to a closed poly, auto drill, not like there's anything to drill, and then for the EPS file, I just need to choose it, and it's here. Look, it's called star 1. So that's what I'm going to provide for you. You can do that with a pen tool in Lightwave if you want anyway, but I'm just going to do it this way, and then press OK. So it's come through. As you can see, it's come through quite big, which is not the end of the world. So what I'll do is I'll put the actual ball in the background, and then we'll just simply go to modify size, and we'll size it right down, and then center all. Press A on your keyboard, size it again, and we'll keep sizing it down to roughly what the size we think these stars are going to be inside. So let's go with that. We can change it after. Okay, so let's just center it again, and then let's double click the layer and call it star 1. And then A on your keyboard, center it. Let's have a look what we've got. So we've got this. So what we need it to be like is we need it to be kind of beveled coming out into a 3D point here. So easiest way to do it, switch to polygons at the bottom here, look. Select the actual star, go to multiply, then at the bottom under subdivide, go to more, make pole, and then it does this, and it gives you this little point, and then go to the move tool and just drag the point out in your top view, look. So dragging it out how far I think I need it to go, so you get this. Let's just say that far, and obviously on the other side we want it to be the same. So what we'll do is we'll simply go to multiply, mirror, press the new N on your keyboard for numerical, and then we just need to put it through the Z axis, and then we just bring it in so it's literally touching like that. Okay, so that's just with the mirror, merge points, drop the tool, and there we've got our star. And then all we've got to do now, so it's inside the ball. Look, there's the ball, there's the star. Let's press Q on your keyboard or set surface at the bottom. Let's just call it star 1. Okay, and now we're going to save it. So S on your keyboard to save. You should have a contents folder with your images, objects and scenes. I've set mine up. Let's go to objects. Let's call it Dragonball 1 DB1. Okay, save. And now let's just send it through them both through to layout. So in the top corner here, let's send the objects to layout. Make sure I've got a perspective view like so. The only thing I haven't got is I haven't got a ground plane. So tell you what, let's just jump back at the top corner here, to modeler, new layer, put the others in the background, press A, zoom out, and let's go and draw out a big kind of flat backdrop that we can make for the ground, so we can actually make it bigger later. So double click the layer like I did before, we'll call it ground, Q on your keyboard, sorry, and ground again. Let's make this like a dark grey, I think it will go for. It's S to save, and then we do not send it back through again, because otherwise it'll send everything back through again. So all you do is you just literally go and click on the icon and it'll do it. Now it'll knock your grid out from 1 meter to usually whatever size this has been created on. So if you go to view, grid size, leave this, needs to be at 1. I always have it at 1. So make it 1. Let's move the, select and move the environment light, and then you've got here, you've got a distant light. So let's grab the ground plane. I'm just clicking on it, and then under modify we've got the move and rotate, and we're just going to place this so it's on the ground like so. So let's have a look. So first thing, let's put a VPR on. Okay, I'm going to change some settings to speed up a bit now. So camera properties, we'll leave the resolution the same. Just going to put 4 in the 1 and 4 of the samples, and then threshold 0.1. We'll shut that. For render, tab, render properties, render. Let's put 4 for the diffuse bounce. We'll leave everything the same. Apart from, let's put 6 and 6 in here. So this is probably going to increase some of it slightly for speed. Enable despeckle to get rid of a bit of graininess. This is, so I'm kind of balancing it out. It's going to speed it up, but at the same time, if I turn this off and turn some other stuff off, it will make it faster. Depends on your computer. I mean, if your computer's a bit slower, don't use the enable despec. Maybe don't increase these till your final render. Here, look for polygon intersection mode, switch it to faster, and also noise filter. I'm just going to put it on a GPU, because that will speed it up a lot faster for me as well. And then over here we'll leave everything the same for the time being. Next thing we're going to do is I need to add a HDRI. So on the internet, what you need to do is put in free HDRI, and Polyhaven comes up. This is the one I always use, really good. So we'll click on browse HDRIs, and we're looking for a studio one, and then from here I'm looking for something that I think might work based on the images here. Look, kind of, let's have a look. So this one, maybe this one here, it's got some little strobe light strip lights here that I could use, or same coming down. This one's not bad, the Christmas Promo Studio 4. I think that's the one I got. So click on this, download it, put it in your actual contents folder. I'll put a link to this as well. Okay, so once you've done that, what we need to do is we need to go to lights, properties. So from the current light, choose environment light, and then what we're going to do is we don't want to use global, we don't want to use time dependence. And then for the environment here, what we're going to do is right mouse click, and this will drop down and come up, add, go down to texture environment, double click texture environment, and then what we're going to do is through the Y we're going to texture it using that HDRI. So for projection it's spherical, the image is in your image folder, and it's here, look, yes, Christmas Promo Studio, that's the one I use, and we'll add it, and it's going through the Y like so. Now other things, sorry, I should have took my phone off. Other things we're going to do is, I don't really want to see it in the background, I just want to use it. So what you do is you go to backdrop, compositing, and just use a background colour. I'm just using black, so it's not going to be in my render anyway, so I'm not bothered. Other things you could do is, depending on, I mean, let me just turn it back on. So as you can see, I've got in the background the image. Okay, so it's up to you to determine how you want that image or where you want it at. So what I mean by that is, if I go back to the texture environment under the Y, if I go to rotate and for the head look, if I do this and drag it to the right, it's going to rotate the actual scene till I get to a position where I want. So you see these little lights going on the top. Let's say I want them there. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I've rotated it like 68 degrees, and I'm just going to tell it to have a black background. So it just makes this black so you don't see it. Okay, so the other thing I want to do now before I start doing anything else is I want to go to my other light, and instead of a distant light I'm going to make it an aerial light. I'm going to tell it to be a portal light, and I'm going to tell it to be, let's say, let's start with 60, like so, and we'll go from there with it, and we'll come back and we'll decide what we want to do with this. Yeah, okay, so next let's go and give this some texture. So what I'm going to do is shift on my keyboard and click the actual ball, and it will bring up these settings. Now all I'm going to use a preset. So go to presets, it brings this up, click on the presets, and let's go and try, let's work our way down. Liquid, let's try the water, see what this looks like so. Quite nice. I mean, there are kind of there are glass as well, look here. So my suggestions, so what I'm doing is I'm choosing a starting point to then manipulate. So it's added this here, look, like so. But what I could do is I could just leave these where it says materials. Dielectric will then make it a preset glass texture for your material. So you don't necessarily need to do this. I'm just saying if you want to use a preset texture then to manipulate, you can. So we'll stick with the we'll move this down, we'll stick with the dielectric. So it's saying here what the colour is. So I want it to be an orangey colour, so I'm going to click on the colour. Let's choose an orange that I think might work. Let's maybe that. Okay, and then we'll use the same colour for the intermittent. So choose from screen. I'm just going to choose it in here, look. Okay, and then see what we get. Now it's saying that the distance, let's put in, just put something high like 10 meters in or something like that. So it means the light and it's travelling through the glass 10 meters. So if it's only 1 meter anyway, it's going all the way through, and that's what we kind of want. You've got a roughness to it as well. So let's move this up a little bit so it's not perfect. Let's say 10% maybe. So it's not perfectly shiny. It's got a bit of roughness, so it's getting that specular and it's spreading it out. You see this little cube here? That's from the actual area light we've just added. But you've got this kind of look at the minute, which is not bad. Now if you see around the edges, look, it don't look perfectly smooth. So what that could be is if you just click on the actual ball, go to properties here, look, double click subdivision, and the subdivision's on but we haven't got it subdivided. So while it's selected, you could go to model, total subdivision, and then what it'll do is it'll make it a lot smoother, and you can actually improve this subdivision if you want and make it higher so it's even smoother, but I'm just going to leave it the way it is for the time being. The smoothness here as well, let's move this up to about 80%, so you're getting a bit more smooth in here. So what we've got now is our starting point for our actual kind of Dragon Ball. But inside as well we've got the actual star, which I don't know if it looks quite big now. So let's, and I'm not sure if I like the image in the background like this, but let's, for the star, let's go and have a look at the surface for the star. It's more of a plasticky one, let's have a look. I mean, we could double click, I double click that blood colour. Let's make it pick from screen. I mean, it's got some, see, it's got some subsurface, so it's how much the light's hitting that. How much is it hitting it or going through it? I'm not even sure what the substance inside one of these is. It's got a high spec, which we can leave. It's got a little bit of roughness. What else? We've got translucency, so we can tell it to be quite translucent, so it can kind of light goes through it slightly. You can also come down here and look at the transmittance colour for the actual transparency. Let's make it, that's what happens when we make it white. So when you make it white, obviously it goes really transparent. We just want it to be more, maybe even not that high. I mean, you could remove the transparency if you want, and then play around with it if you don't want the transparent. Or you can, like, if I get rid of the transparency, look, it's probably going to look better. Here we go. Let's just save that for the time being. But what I'm going to say is I think it needs to be small. It is getting blown up a bit because it's inside the glass. So let's choose the star, and then modify, and then let's size it to about there. I think that's better. Yeah. Okay. So let's say we're happy with that. Let's do the ground. So shift click on the texture of the ground. Let's go to surface, and I want a darker texture. So let's go to built-in automotive. Now, if I just show you, I got a reference image first. So this is the image I just dragged off the internet, and that's kind of what I work towards in a way. And I quite like this kind of, I don't know, it's kind of like a greyish kind of texture on the ground. So let's go for something like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start while I'm on the ground. I'm going to double click under the automotive. I'm going to use the black metallic, which is going to make it really shiny like this, look, which you can keep if you want. But what I want to do is I want to make it more rough. So what you need to do is turn the spec down and increase any roughness. So if we turn this down and increase the roughness, and we do the same here, look, with this clear coat, and then we turn up the actual roughness on this, and let's have a look, let's see when it clears. You're getting this more, again, it's up to you. You might want it more like shiny or reflective, but what I want to do is give it more of a kind of this kind of look, so it's a dull kind of like a dull metal. Okay, but again, play about with it, see what you want to kind of do and want to come up with. I mean, it's up to, it's kind of up to you. You can play around with these settings and roughness and the spec, and let's go with that, so I'm not playing around too much. Okay, so we've got this. Let's turn VPR. So now what I need to do is I need to clone this and then reproduce more stars. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to scene editor, scene and dope editor, and on here, look, it holds everything in your scene. So there's my camera, you know, the ball, the ground, the star, the environment light, and the normal light. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the star and pull it into the actual ball, and you'll notice there's an indent there, look. That means they're actually joined together. So while they're joined together, I'm going to right mouse click on it, go to add, and go right down to the bottom, and it'll say clone hierarchy. So I press OK, and then it gives me a duplicate of this. So now when I go to modify move, and I move it to the side, and let's say I'll move it back a little bit, I've got two of them. The only difference is I want two stars in here now. So because I've got a clone of the actual whole thing, I can just come in here, right mouse click on the second star, add, and then clone. And now it's not showing me the clone hierarchy because there isn't a hierarchy inside of that own star. So let's clone it. I just want one, and then maybe in the top view I can move it to the side so it's next to it. Then what I'll do is I'll shift click both of them and move them into the center more, like so. And so they're not exactly the same position. Maybe I go to the rotate, and then with the little green handles rotate them, and so they're in a slightly different position, like so. I mean, it's up to you. But what we've got now is a clone of this. So now let's do it again. So basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to go do it 2 more times, so we've got 4. I mean there's 7 altogether, but I'll let you go and finish the 7 because it's the same process if you want. So let's do it again. Right mouse click, add clone the hierarchy, which it does. Let's here, look. Let's move it over to the other side, like so. And this time we need to do another right mouse click, add clone, and then we've got the other an extra star now, which we can decide where it goes and stuff. So let's, I don't know, let's just move it so it's in the center of these. I'll select if you accidentally, because I've cloned it into there, if you accidentally do that, you can pull it to the side to pull it out, if I can do it. So I've got all 3, and I'll just move it into the center a bit, like so. Let's have a look where we're at with the VPR. Okay, so we've got, there's 3 now, and I'll just need to do 1 more at the back here, and then we can just play around with the lights and textures a little bit, and then experiment with it really. And again, if you want to move the whole thing, make sure you're on the main ball, because that holds everything in it, look, like so. Okay, so let's clone this 1 more time. Right mouse click, add clone hierarchy, here we go, and then we'll just move it, and let's place it here at the back, like so. And then we just need to right mouse click and clone 1 more star for this one. Okay, and then place it wherever you want it to be, basically. Let's put it down here. Can't really see it at the back, but I'll just leave it there, look in the centre. So there's the 4 bits. So let's sort our camera out. Let me shut this down for the time being. Let's sort our camera out, because we need a camera position. Now I quite like this kind of shot. So click on the camera, then here, look at the top of your perspective view, on the little tiny drop down, go down to where it says match the viewport perspective. So that bit, and select a camera. So basically what it's going to do is it's going to take the position of the perspective view and match it to the camera, like so. So we don't have to do it. So now we switch this, and we've got our kind of camera view. So let's move our camera into a better position maybe. Let's zoom out. Let's kind of center these Dragon Balls a little bit. Kind of a closer up shot. Now what is annoying me slightly is I don't want that black area. So what I'm going to do is select the ground. We'll start by selecting it and just moving it back to see if we can fill that gap in, but we still can't fill it in. So then what we'll do is we'll go to stretch, and then we'll stretch it out one way, stretch it out the other, until it just covers this perspective for the camera view, so we've not got it and it's just kind of being there. So what we've got now is this. So now we're at the stage where we need to kind of decide on what textures need changing. What I'm going to do is, let's go to the lights, environment lights. Let's make it 150, because it needs to be a bit brighter, I think, here, like so. And you can decide how much more brighter it is. Now, as the kind of area lights hitting this, we need some acoustics hitting here, so the lights spreading through. So if we go to the render properties, now here under global illumination, let's turn this acoustics on, and you're kind of getting a bit through here. Let's go and make this 150 for the intensity, and the rays, let's go and bump this up to 56, let's say. The only problem with stuff like this, when you start cracking this stuff on, it's going to take more of a, it's going to take a bit of rendering to kind of do it. That's the only problem. Okay, so we'll leave it like that. You kind of see it coming through. The higher, you can go back to here for your area light. Let's put 100 in and see what that does. So you can see it's actually hitting. You see the light coming from over here. It's hitting. You can change the colour if you want, but it's coming through and it's hitting this like so. And then now we're at the stage where we just need to what you need to do is you need to experiment with the actual the lights and the actual surfaces to get the perfect surface you want. Now at this stage you can go and change colour. So if you change a colour where it's white here, it's like adding a piece of thin coloured paper, I suppose, over the top of your light. So if I went and did this, it's gonna make as if I've put a piece of that colour over the front of the light in a way. Do you know what I mean? So you can do that as well, and you can do the same with the environment, the area light. The only difference is with the area light is actually, it's just a light coming through, so you can see again that colour's coming through if you want to use that colour. I mean, it's completely up to you. So they're just a few like other tricks that you need to do as well. I mean, you can start putting all kind of numbers in here. Let's put see what happens if I put 500 in. So you can see it's even coming through even more. Look, the colours and stuff. I would say that you maybe need to experiment with. Definitely need to, before your final render, increase some of the transparency settings, reflection settings, to increase the quality of this. I mean, I've got the GPU on as well. And I've got the despeckle, but you can start putting all silly kind of numbers in this, but it just cranks the render up. Excuse me. So once you kind of get a scene, you're thinking, well, I'm getting to a scene where I quite like. I just need to come back now to the original ball and stuff and start experimenting and you know what I mean, playing around with these settings to find out what works. So by turning the actual roughness down straight away, I can see that it's letting more light come through, and you're getting this kind of effect as well, which is alright. By turning the roughness off, sorry, you can come in and change the colours if you want, so make it even lighter and then see what happens and so on and so forth. But it's a matter of experimenting. Same with the actual stars. What do you want to do with the stars? I mean, the stars are fine as they are. I think I don't need to do much with that. The ground and so on. But yeah, I mean, no way have I hit my 10 minutes. I'm never going to do it. But hopefully, by getting, this is a good kickstart for you to getting yourself to a stage where you're at this stage, where you've got a good starting point here to kind of go on. And like I said, clone them so you've got 7. Put them on in a scene if you want. You can even get a nice wood texture and put it on the ground and put them as if they're on the ground, or even get a box, because I think you can buy these like a pack of 7 somewhere, like if you're collecting and stuff. Funny enough, it's my son's favourite anime, Dragon Ball. I've never watched it. That's one I've never watched. I've just decided to myself, because I started getting into anime, that I'd start making different anime items, like the Berserk sword I made. So yeah, I'm going to finish here. Hopefully you've enjoyed this tutorial and you've picked up some new tips and stuff. If you have a go at it or you've got any questions, please use the description, and I'll go head over to Lightwave Salvation Facebook group and post whatever you've created on there. But please share, subscribe, and look out for my next tutorial. Thank you.